Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Josh Parker here from Keller Williams Realty in Trinity, Florida. Think waterfront, Gulf Coast waterfront along the Tampa Bay and along the Gulf of Mexico. Tampa, Clearwater, Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs, Dunedin. That's the areas you can find myself and my team in. Today we're going to bring you a video on how we launch our new properties and kind of what the system for us looks like for that. And this will also be a training video for my team. So we're utilizing Dropbox, and Dropbox is going to allow us to sort everything based on what type of folder or what type of file it is. So we do foreclosures, we do retail sales, we also do retail buyers, retail new construction, and short sales. So depending on the type of property that it is going to determine where we're going to go in and set up the folder. So we're going to do one in our retail section here, and basically we've built a template that we just copy and paste. Okay, so you copy it and then you paste it. Once you've done that, then you can rename it anything. Okay, so we've renamed our folder, and what I've done here is I've just put it by the name of the street, 1234 Anywhere Street, Trinity, Florida 34655. And then we put the seller's last name, and then in parentheses whoever is referring that deal to us. So you can see there's a couple of different things in there as far as different agents who are referring things to us, and different services in which we utilize for referrals. So 1234 Anywhere Street, let's go in and take a look at that. So this would be our order of operations for the items in which we're going to prepare. First, we're going to create all of our county records and MLS info. We're going to get all of our data for the market value of the property, listing agreements, seller's property disclosures, and once we've got all that, then we're going to get photos, aerials, etc. Then we're going to get it put on the MLS. We're going to have printouts. Once it's on the MLS, we'll start getting contracts and offers. Then once we get one accepted, that'll be moved into the closing documents. Anything miscellaneous would go in here, like maybe copies of, for instance, we've had stuff with sinkholes, so maybe copies of that, any of the referral agreements. Final stack compliance and pay cards, that's where we're going to keep all of the data that we've got to submit into Dotloop. And then accounting expenses, where we're going to keep track of anything we bought, whether it be the signpost, professional photos, etc. Fair enough? Okay, so since that was just a test folder, we're actually going to utilize one right here for 6406 Drake Court. That was a request on our website through one of our portals that we're using to get some data. So we're going to go ahead and launch that through our search here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our MLS, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to start just by trying to see if that property's been available on the MLS, and if so, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in and make copies of that, and that way we've got all of our stuff here. So you can see here they've requested data from us, yet they've already got it listed with another agent, so that gets to be a little bit of a hairy situation. You can see that it's active here on the market, but nonetheless, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through this process here of getting copies. So we're going to select all of those, and we're going to print those. We're going to print the broker synopsis, and we're going to save those as PDF. And all of these will be labeled prior MLS printouts, because if they wind up hiring us, even the current active listing would wind up being a prior MLS printout, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our folder here on the retail for that particular property, and we're just going to start compiling data. And I like to keep everything uniform, so typically I do everything in all caps, which works a little bit better for the method of madness in which I kind of operate under. And so we're going to go back over here to the active listing, and then we're going to start looking at stuff like the tax records and such. Basically what we're looking to do is we're looking to have all of the data in here to share with the seller, so that they know we've done our diligence and that they know that we've done our research, and they know that we're hiring good people. That's what we want to create for them. So we're going to go ahead and save that as our realist report, and then we're going to jump in and we'll actually launch the full realist, because there's some additional data that we want to look at in here, such as comparable sales, neighborhood demographics, if there's been in a flood zone. All of those things come into play here and become kind of important to our research. So by clicking into there to launch Realist, we're going to bring it right on up. And then we can see stuff, so we'll be able to save all of this, obviously. What we're going to do is we're going to work on saving the comparables, saving the market trends, which is going to be your supply and demand analysis, the neighborhood profile, which will be your demographics, and then the flood map as well. Okay, so here's our comparables. First we're going to do is we're going to print that, and then that will go in and it'll actually get saved into the BPO/CMA section of the file. That way we're starting to delineate what is what. This isn't a item that's going to be put in with the county records. Even though it's from the county records printout from the Realist, we're actually going to put it into the CMA because this is going to help us to allow the seller to self-discover what the real value is. So we're going to label this one Realist comps. So then that's one set of comps that they get to review. Then we'll pull specific to the neighborhood comps. Then we'll actually go in and do a full CMA ourselves. So we're actually going to give them 3 different sets of comparables to review at their leisure to help them self-discover what's the best price that's going to let their property sell. Okay, so here we've gone into our market trends, which is essentially our supply and demand analysis. And that's going to be saved in with the comps as well because that's pertinent to the comparables, pertinent to the valuation of the property and what we can actually sell the home for. So it's going to go right in here with the comps, and we're going to label that supply and demand. And moving on to the next piece. The next piece here is going to actually be the neighborhood profile, which we're going to save back into the county records as demographics, because this starts to talk about median sales prices, the type of education obtained, whether or not the people are homeowners or if they're renters, and all of that stuff comes into play for us as agents when we're consulting with a seller, because it gives us the opportunity to tell them who we're going to actually be appealing to, where that marketing is going to take place. If the demographic is primarily over 65 years of age, we're probably not going to do as much social media marketing and probably more print marketing. Does that make sense? So here we're going to go ahead and save this as demographics, but you got to be careful not to go ahead and save it in with the BPO and CMA. We're going to move that back over to the county records section here because we're starting to compile all of the data for the subject property. And the last thing we're going to grab from this Realist report is going to be the flood map. Okay, so as you can see, this actually is in a flood zone. So it's very important that we have this, because what we'll do is when we're going to get the listing from the seller, we're going to contact our preferred insurance vendor. We're going to send him this flood determination, and he's going to actually use that to help create a quote on the front end for us to use. And we'll actually attach the flood determination and the quote we received from our insurance vendor to the MLS, so that way we're taking objections off the table in advance for potential agents and buyers. Many buyers are working with agents that may not be educated. Those agents might not know to contact a preferred insurance vendor and say, hey, here's the address of 1234 Main Street. I was wondering if you could give me the insurance quote on this. And they don't even know where to go get the flood determination. So my job as a listing agent is to make the listing sell, right? So I'm going to do so by providing it as easy as possible, as much of a layup as possible for even the least educated buyer's agent. So that way they don't have any hurdles or objections with a buyer. Well, I'm not going to go look at that one because I don't know what the flood insurance costs. No, we're taking all of that off the table right up front. Okay, so as I said, one of the next things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull something based around the subdivision. So we're going to actually copy the subdivision name. We're going to go back in and we're going to run a residential search for the properties that have sold, expired, etc. in their specific neighborhood. So we're going to do withdrawn, solds, and expireds all the way up to 180 days back, and we'll see how many matches. So we've got 131 matches. So our particular property has 5 bedrooms, so we'll do a search for 4+ bedrooms. Our particular property has a little over 3,100 square feet. So we'll go ahead and do the results for that as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, oops, that's in the wrong field, but we're going to include that in the square foot heated so we can kind of narrow the searches down. So we've got 19 matches. That might be too few, as a matter of fact. The property is a single family, so let's go over here and only select single family. And then pool homes, and let's get rid of that and see. So this is never a science as much as it is an art, right? So we have 22 matches. So we're looking to obtain about 5 to 15 comps depending on the saturation of the area to make our neighborhood comps here. So this gives us a good indication. So we've got ranges, 220s, 310s, 550s, million. So this gives us a pretty good indication of what's going on. Everything from actives to pendings, withdrawals, etc. So we're just going to save that, and actually we're going to print it as the neighborhood comps. So we're going to select the broker synopsis again. We're going to print to PDF. We're going to select the BPO CMA section again. And this time we'll label it Gulf Harbors comps, and we'll always put today's date in there as well, because we might wind up going and presenting today, not getting the listing today, and yet they hire us at some point in maybe 1, 2, 3 months later, and we may have to update that data at that time. So we're going to come in here, we're going to label this Gulf Harbors, and that's based on today's date, which is the 19th. And there we go. So now that's saved. And then the last thing we would do is we would actually do physical pulling of comps specific to our home, but we're not going to do that at this point. Our next step is actually we're going to go into Brivity, which is our task management software, and we're going to actually launch this as a new listing. And it's actually something that because it's already on the market, we're going to do this one a little different. We won't actually publish this listing. When we come in and create these, usually one of the things we'll do is we'll publish the listing. Yet because it's already actively listed with somebody else, we can't do that. It'd be a violation of that person's listing agreement. So we're actually not going to publish this listing. So here we're going to have the opportunity to put a little SEO stuff. So we're going to say Gulf Harbors 5-bedroom pool home for sale. It's a residential property, and we're going to put the street address in and the zip code as well. And we're going to go ahead and add in action plans. For us, it would be a pre-listing, and actually it'll be a what's my home worth at this time because it's already listed with somebody else. And we're going to add the advertising plan as well. So once we create that, we're going to jump in. We're going to have the opportunity to fill out some additional stuff. Again, it was a 5-bedroom home. It had 3 baths, and we could fill in all this stuff. Now, again, I'm not going to go crazy with this because the property is actively listed. Yep, I'm just going to go ahead and put some basic data in here so that we've got it, and then that way, if they do decide to hire us, we've got the ability to come in here, finalize the details, and get it rocking and rolling. Okay, so a couple of cool things we could do here through our Brivity is we can actually add the other additional people, the additional players. So we're going to add Ashley, who's our admin, so that she can jump into the file. And then we can select a listing agent. So for instance, we would select my partner, Chelsea. So allow her to be added in as well. So all the additional players can come to the party, right? We're going to add the seller in as well, and they can actually get a daily email from us. And that's how we're going to communicate with them at a super high level. And we're just going to go ahead and add their stuff in here. And then we'll go ahead and create the account. Okay, so now you can see that the seller's over there, all the players are here. And then we can go through and complete some of the tasks. And as we do complete those tasks, then the seller is going to start getting emails from us of the things in which we've completed. Everything from creating the folder on Dropbox, which we did so, adding the client to Brivity as a seller, we did that, research the info. So this is stuff that we would do to get some additional data if maybe the form that they completed was incomplete. But we've already completed the neighborhood search, we've completed the supply and demand search. We can go and pull the permit records real quick, and I'll do that right now. So to find the Pasco County permits is really simple. We Google Pasco County permitting PA, and you can see it's because I've clicked it so many times. We just click right in there, and then we put the property address in and just run the search. Just make sure that the year built is going to be, this date is substantially before the year built, that way everything's included. So here you can see all of the permits that were done on this file. Okay, so we've completed the permit search. We've completed the researching the home's history and details. So we've pretty much done a large portion of this, right? And basically at this point, it's just following the items in the task list. So that's how we launch our properties. And if you need any additional data, feel free to contact me so I can send you our to-do lists. Thanks.